Hey everyone, this is Erin with Five Parks Yoga. Thank you so much for joining me for class today. Today's class is a Yoga for Better Posture class. So I'm going to continue to talk to you after we get in our first position, because our first position, we're going to hold it for just a minute. If you have props, you can grab a block or a strap, but they're not necessary. They can just assist if we have a hard time keeping ourselves upright. So first posture is Sukhasana, or easy pose. It's a cross-legged position with your head stacked over your shoulders, over your hips. If this is a very difficult posture for you, or pose for you, you can use a block. Sometimes propping up the hips makes it a little bit easier to hold the spine upright. Or you can sit on a pillow or a blanket or something like that. So if the cross-legged position isn't accessible, you also have the option of Thunderbolt Pose or sitting hips to heels. Any position ultimately where you can keep your spine upright. And if you did choose this class because you struggle with keeping an upright spine or nice tall spine, you might already be feeling this as a challenge. And I will just tell you from personal experience, I am 5'10" and I have been that tall since I was pretty young. And I think I naturally over time developed that kind of slouch of a taller person. And when I came to my yoga teacher training, I also was a new mom. So I had a lot of hunched over, baby holding, car seat carrying positions. So for 200 hours, I had to sit on the floor upright. And I would say that was the hardest part of my yoga teacher training. So I feel for you if you're feeling this challenge already. If you are in a cross-legged position, go ahead and switch the cross of your feet now. And we'll just hold here for a few more minutes. So what we're going to be doing throughout class today is strengthening the upper back and opening the shoulders. This helps with better posture if you find that you slouch or round through your upper back. So last breath here, go ahead and take a nice big shoulder roll and start to lift your chest up toward the ceiling, and then take your hands, tense your fingers behind you, draw your shoulders down, lift your chin up. Breathe into your chest as you open your shoulders and arch your upper back into a little mini back bend. And then make your way back to a neutral position with your shoulders over your hips. And let's just take two side bends here, one on each side. So lift your arms up overhead, side bend to the right, take right hand, maybe elbow, forearm to the floor, and then reach up and across with your left arm. Once again, try and keep your spine in one line so you're not rounding or hunching your shoulder forward. Okay, so keep your shoulder over your hip, or in line with your hip, not over it. And then come back to center, and we'll side bend to the opposite side. So left hand, maybe forearm, maybe elbow to your mat. Right shoulder in line with right hip. Come all the way back up to center. And let's take a chest expansion here. If you want to switch the cross of your legs one more time, that's an option. Take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, press your fists down toward the floor. Now, if you are really tight in your chest or shoulders, I offered up a strap as an option, or a belt. If you don't have a strap, you can always hold on to the strap. So maybe you're so tight in the shoulders that you can't reach your hands behind your back. So this is an option. You would take hold of your strap. You can just start to walk your hands a little bit further in. If your chest is a little more open, you're welcome to start to lift your hands up off of your lower back. You can even hinge forward if that's accessible to you. Just depends what you're working with today. Maybe it's an injury. Maybe it's just years and years of slouching, sitting at a desk, typing at a typewriter or a computer, I guess. Come into a tabletop position. We're going to take some cats and cows So inhale, drop your belly, lift through the crown of your head and your tailbone. And exhale, round your spine. So you're gonna lift and separate your shoulder blades and take your gaze toward navel center. And just back and forth. So we're really warming up the spine, opening the front and the back side of your body. One more of each. One more cow. One more cat. Come back to tabletop position. This next posture is called heart melting posture. So scoop back toward the back of your mat. Keep your knees at hip distance apart, your hips stacked over your knees. This is a huge chest opener and shoulder opener. You're gonna walk your hands forward to the outer edges of your mat. Keep your hips right where they are and start to lower your chest toward the floor. You can rest your forehead down. This posture has always been a little bit more on the challenging side for me with my tightness in my chest and shoulders. So hopefully you feel the positive effect of this posture. One more breath. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders so you're in a tabletop position. And since we're doing chest opening and spine strengthening, we're going to start with a posture called Spinal Balance. Extend your right arm forward and your left leg back. So see if you can create one long line from your fingertips back toward your toes. Hold here. Feel the strength building in your upper back as you hold your arm parallel to the floor. Feel the strength building in your low back as you hold your left leg parallel to the floor. And release, and we'll do that on the other side. So extend your left arm forward and your right leg back. Try to keep one long line from your fingertips all the way back through your foot. And release. Back to tabletop position. Tuck your toes under, walk your hands forward to high plank pose. If high plank feels like a challenge, you can always keep your knees on the floor. So this is just an entire core strengthener. Try to keep your shoulders over your wrists and your hips in line with your heels. Okay, so not too high, not sagging. And then we're just gonna lower down onto our belly. Okay, we're gonna do a couple of belly down spine strengthening postures. So the first one is called Cobra Pose. Keep your hands underneath your shoulders, feet flat to the floor, keel your chest up off the floor. Hold here and option to up level by taking your hands up off the floor. It's okay if you're not there yet. Draw your shoulders back. One more breath in and release. Take your ear onto your mat, arms alongside your body. Take one breath. The next pose we're doing is called Locust with chest expansion. So we already did a chest expansion. Option for a strap if you can't clasp your hands behind your back. Okay, otherwise you're taking your hands, interlacing your fingers. Press your fists toward your heels. So really opening the front of the chest, and then you can lift your feet up off the floor as an option too to build strength in your low back as you open your chest and build strength in your upper back. And lower, take your opposite ear to your mat, arms rest alongside your body. Take one breath here. Bring your chin back to your mat, hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes under, all 10 toes, and press up to a high plank, either with knees on or off the floor. And then back to downward facing dog, lifting your hips up. Look back towards your feet. Take one more breath here. All right, now you're gonna walk your hands toward your feet, so toward the back of your mat. Come into a standing forward fold position. If your hamstrings are tight and you have blocks, you're welcome to rest your hands on blocks. Otherwise, you can rest your hands down toward the floor or maybe on the floor. Okay, so building a little more spine strength with some movement. So again, with or without your blocks, on your breath in, you're going to come up to a halfway lift. So in your halfway lift, if you could see yourself in a mirror, you'd want to have a nice 90-degree angle in your body. So your legs can be as bent as they need, as long as your torso is nice and long, flat, your head is in line with your spine. Okay, so all of these options here. So holding up the torso with the strength of your back muscles and fold forward. That might not be a very large movement for you, but just try and find the difference between folding forward and then lifting up to a flat back. So breathe in, lift up, halfway lift, fold, and then last time, breathe in, halfway lift, breathe out, fold. This time come up to your halfway lift. Try to bring your arms straight out to the side. So again, using the strength and the muscles in your back to hold you in this position, and from here, rise all the way up to a tall mountain pose. So lifting your arms up overhead. Maybe you can look up at your hands once you're standing, and then exhale, cactus your arms. This is a nice big chest opener. Roll your shoulders down and away. Draw your elbows further down toward your heels. And then come up, tall mountain. Exhale to chest expansion one more time. So again, you can take hold of your strap if you would like to, or take your hands behind your back. You're gonna come back to a forward fold with your strap or your hands bound. Take just one more breath here in your forward fold with chest expansion. Breathe in and out. Come all the way back up. Try to do it with a flat back if you can. So building strength in the back side of your body. Once you arrive in a standing position, release your hands or release your strap to your mat. Reach your arms up to tall mountain. With your arms extended, keep them just as they are, palms facing each other. You're gonna stand all of your weight onto your right leg. Extend your left leg out behind you. Start to float it off of your mat. Try to keep one long line from your fingertips all the way back through the ball of your foot. This is our only balance posture that we're doing today. So hold it for 3, 2, 1. Now slowly come all the way back up. Your left foot's gonna meet your right. Your arms are gonna come up overhead, and then you're gonna move right to the other side. Keep your arms and leg in one long line as you come forward to warrior 3. Palms face each other, fingers are nice and active. Feel the strength building in your back, the back of your leg, your shoulders. And then come all the way back up, nice and slow. Your right foot will meet your left. Your arms are gonna come up to tall mountain. Set your foot down. And then make your way to standing forward fold by bringing your arms off to the side, hinging from your hips with a nice flat back all the way down. Good. One more halfway lift. And then go ahead and squat down. Come all the way down onto your shins. We're gonna take a posture called Camel Pose. It's a really big chest, heart opener, shoulder opener. So you're gonna make your way onto your shins, stack your shoulders over your hips over your knees. You can have your toes tucked or flat to the floor. You're gonna take your hands Imagine that you're putting them in your back pockets. Start to press your hips forward, lift your chest, lift your chin. You might stay here today, or you can work toward reaching one hand at a time towards your heels. Come all the way back up if you're not already. Rest your hips to your heels. Rest your hands on your legs. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. We're going to do 2 more chest openers. So come down onto your seat. Bend your legs. We're taking reverse tabletop first. So you want to set yourself up into good alignment. So your feet eventually are going to be right over your knees and your shoulders right over your wrists. And you might have to make adjustments once you get into the pose. Face your fingers toward the front of your mat. Press into your feet and then lift your body up so that your knees come over your ankles, your shoulders come over your wrists. Okay, so you should look like a table. Nice 90 degrees. In your legs and your arms. Nice flat torso. So feel your shoulders opening and also building strength in the backside of your body. Okay, and then slowly lower down to seated. And then we're going to take reverse plank now. So you can take reverse tabletop again if plank feels a little bit inaccessible, but extend your legs long. You're going to point your toes down toward the floor. Hands stay in position like they were for table, and then lift up. Try to bring your toes down to touch your mat. Open your chest. And lower down. All right, we're gonna take a seated pose. It's a hip opener and really big shoulder opener. So we're gonna get our position in our legs first. You're gonna take your left knee, point it toward the front of your mat, and then you're gonna stack your right leg on top of your left. Okay, so we're working knees in line with one another. If you really don't want to deal with the hips today, you can also come back into that seated pose that we were in with a block or whatever, okay? Really working the chest and shoulders today. So with or without a strap, cow face arms. If you have a strap, you can't clasp your hands behind you. Hold on to a strap. Right arm up and over, left arm behind. Okay, if you can clasp your hands behind your back. So try to avoid clasping your hands if that means that you're rounding forward or collapsing your chest. Okay, so the idea is better posture, straight spine. If you don't have a strap, can't clasp your hands, take your hand on top of your elbow. All right, now for the release, release your arms first. Take your right knee toward your left heel. This is just another little chest opener, mini back bend. Take your left hand out behind you, lift your hips and your arms straight up. And release. Let's do that on the other side. Bring your right knee out in front so it's facing the front of your mat and it's on bottom. Left knee stacks on top for your cow face legs. Again, Sukhasana or easy pose is an option, whatever position you want for your hips. And then you can take your strap in your left hand. Your left arm's gonna come up and over, and right arm comes behind. So maybe you hold onto your strap with your hands to keep your spine upright. or you can clasp your hands behind your back, as long as you're not hunching and rounding forward. It really just defeats the purpose of what we're going for today. And just hold it for another couple breaths. Release your arms first. We're going to take that back bend on this side. So bring your left knee towards your right heel. Right hand out behind you. Hips and hand go straight up. Then open your chest. Release down. For our final posture before Shavasana, I'm introducing you to a lot of things that you can just practice if you're sitting around watching TV one night. You can just really work on these chest expansions. It's going to help you with your posture, or like I was saying at the beginning of class, just sitting on the floor straight upright. Not always the easiest thing. We're going to take supported fish now. So for supported fish, if you have blocks, you can utilize the blocks, or you can lay down on a pillow. Take your block and you're going to place it right below your shoulder blades when you lay back. And I like to have a second block to prop my head on. It's just an option for you. My blocks are very thin, so it's a little bit awkward, but you can prop your head on a second block. The reason I like this position with the supportive props is because it creates more space for your shoulders to release down toward the floor. And I like to, for the purpose of this class, take my arms really wide and really heavy. So a real traditional fish, especially if you're on your arms, is a much more active posture, but this is a big release. And just feel your chest opening up. Feel the fronts of your shoulders stretching as they release down toward the mat. Oh, one of my very favorite postures because it's passive, and for someone with a tight chest and shoulders, this is so helpful. Letting gravity do the work for me. Our last posture is a twist before Shavasana. So you're going to remove your blocks out from underneath you. And I tell you, if you have the time, you should just lay in supported fish as long as you can. Such a great posture. We're going to do a simple, gentle twist. So bring your knees in, loose squeeze, release them to the right. Gaze to the left as you press your left shoulder down to the floor. Okay, so again, feel that stretch when you extend your arm to the left. You can either be bent or straight. And then switch sides, bring your knees to the left. Try to take your right shoulder and press it down towards your mat. Bring it back to center. One last little squeeze. Shavasana. Bring your legs long on your mat. Let your feet fall open. Arms rest alongside your body with your palms facing up. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Get out all the wiggles. Big open mouth exhale. Let that settle you into stillness and relaxation. Just return to the natural rhythm of your breath. You can close your eyes. Let your body be heavy and soft. you have more time, please enjoy your Shavasana. Thank you so much for joining me for class today. Today, as you go forward, may you have peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. From my heart to yours, namaste.